The game.
It's a game.
That's a game.
Okay. Now, how did you learn the mechanics? Okay. That's right. Trial and error.
Define mechanics.
The mechanics of the game? How you win, how you not die, how you get things done.
Well, first of all, fail it a lot. Curiosity. Fail a lot and learn from mistakes.
What's this? Now,
Oh, what's this?
anyone noticed anything particular about the way each of the obstacles were designed, each of the challenges were placed in the first level?
Parang may bagong mechanic.
And is prepared to throw everything they have at it. This is the raid equivalent of a Super Mario level. Heroic difficulty. Before we move on to the next video, in which we will showcase how you can use the exact same elements of a level to create an experience that is different from how it is normally played the rest of the game. Any questions? Clarifications? Violent reactions?
That sounds like a fun game.
Well, Super Mario was pretty fun. It's one of the biggest games ever made. It's still alive now. It's over 30 years old. Any questions? Anything else you might have noticed that we have not discussed? If you noticed, the level is mostly the ability to execute, the ability to memorize the layout of the stage. Now, not all level designs are supposed to be made like that. It's not always rote memorization. But Super Mario is a very old style of game, and memorization is more often than not how you beat a lot of those. Now, if ever you guys have the time to watch speed clears on YouTube, you'll find that quite a few of those speed clears for Resident Evil, Legend of Zelda, and I'm talking about the older versions. You'll find a lot of them have to do with exploiting mechanics of the game. Now, these are things that you learn. As a designer, these are things that all of you should know about as you are making the game. This comes with playtesting. That comes with experience. Now, I know, forgive the use of the term, do we have quite a few weeaboos in this class? You may raise your hands without shame. I will not judge you much.
What level?
Define weeaboo.
What level of weeaboo?
Neon Genesis Evangelion level. No, seriously, okay. How many of you familiar with Toho? The Toho project? Two. Zwei? Just two? The game, the series, the fandom, the fan art, the porn, whatever. As long as you're familiar with the words Toho.
I don't know.
Okay? Who is aware who made Toho? Are you aware that all of the Toho games were made by one guy by himself during his free time at home?
Okay.
The next Mario stage that we will be showcasing is a Mario stage done by the creator of Toho. And how he used all of the Super Mario elements that are available to him in the Super Mario Stage Builder to create something that actually feels very Toho-like.
Sorry, I think you have the wrong car.
In terms of space, masikip siya. So you have, tapos, since gumagalaw yung screen mo, you have to be always on the move.
Yes. Anything else?
Ano ba?
Very reminiscent of how Toho was happening.
Correct. Notice how we're looking at a Mario game, but despite that, it looks like we're playing Space Invaders. Right? In case you guys are not familiar with what Toho gameplay is like, I'll show you guys a video before we continue. But I'd like us to continue with this discussion first. What else did you notice about the stage?
It's alive.
Well, yes,
Everything
everything is moving there, which is once again another hallmark of how Toho gameplay works. If you're familiar with it. How punishing is the game compared to the other two levels that we've seen?
Tama.
I think this is not. Or it's like.
You'll notice that even though they are of, well, you can say that they're of the same difficulty for one, they require a very innate understanding of how Mario mechanics work too, which means you can't be a World 1-1 type of guy when you step into a stage like this. What primary difference does this stage have from the hardest Mario level ever? What's the main difference between that level and this one?
Hindi assume level. Because it's not an ass.
Really? If you weren't the guy that made the level, would you have not found that very challenging? Granted, what ifs are completely pointless questions. Any other differences you guys can see? And this one is a very glaring one. Mechanics have already been mentioned.
The jumping is limited. Like
Hmm?
jumping was changed into like in shift.
Yes, but you're still moving like, in Mario. But yes, that's a good point. The way that you move, compared to how you normally move in the rest of the Mario game, is quite different, right? Your little airship thing. Like, it's the clown copter, I think it's called.
It's charging.
Yes. But, anything else you guys noticed? It's a very crucial bit of information. That's a clue.
It's a whole different game.
Oh, it's still the Mario. It still has all of Mario's core mechanics. Jumping on top of things, kills things or protects you. Getting hit by things head on or above you will kill you.
The feel of the game.
That's one.
Mario.
Kitang-kita ang styles compared to
Correct. That's what we were looking for. Unlike the world's hardest Mario level ever, the Toho level gave you all of the information up front. Everything could be seen. There was nothing hidden from you. It was all about how you managed the threats that were visible to you there. Now this goes back to what we were discussing with World 1-1. This is about conveying to the player information. Now since we're assuming that the player already knows what he's doing, since he's at this stage of the game, the only information the player needs is not how to get past mechanics. It's telling the player what mechanics he's going to need in order to get past the stage. So there, it's presented na, here are the obstacles that you are going to encounter. Now, you can figure out what you need to do to get past them. You notice that one time when he transitioned to the second phase of the stage, he fell onto a bed of bitey flowers, right?
Yes.
Notice that he didn't die immediately. This is a mechanic where you're supposed to abuse the fact that, when Mario gets hit, while he has a mushroom up, he loses the mushroom, doesn't die, but he's invulnerable for a period of time. You're supposed to take advantage of this to immediately get off the flower bed, get to the checkpoint, get a second mushroom. Stop yourself from dying again. You present the player with all of the information that is needed to defeat the level, in order to beat the game, in order to get their thing done, and it's up to the player to work with what you've given them. So the important part is you need to make sure that the player knows what needs to be done. Now, we're looking at Mario. Mario unfortunately has a very linear progression path. There aren't that many extra choices. There are the little exploits if you've played the game enough. That shortcut to go to like World 2-1 from World 1-2. That super big jump. But besides that, everything progresses linearly. Modern games, this isn't always the case. You're going to have to make choices. These choices will affect what things happen next. In the event of Battle Realms, which characters you save during the first stage will decide whether Kenshin is dragon or serpent. Your storyline will evolve from there. Then you also have a bunch of choices for which of the serpent heroes you spare. If I recall, I'm not entirely sure if that's the case. Who dies, who lives? Unfortunately, I'm not familiar enough with Danganronpa to say like what choices you make there matter. I played the Umineko Shiro games more. Anyway, so level design is about conveying to the player information. It's about telling the player how the game works. If you're good enough, you can use it to tell a story without ever saying a word. It's also how you tell the player how to beat the game without ever saying a word. Show, don't tell. In the case of games, it's show and tell, more often than not. Before we proceed, because that will be ending our level design theory and our introduction to level design. Do you have any questions? Excuse me. You guys get how it's supposed to be applied? If I ask you guys to make a tutorial level, can you make a tutorial level?
Without instructions. I think sir, yes. Kasi with curiosity naman, yun na yung mag-kick in sa player.
That's right. Don't always assume your player is an idiot. It's important to realize that your player is intelligent enough to explore the game on their own. I mean, when you started playing League for the first time, did someone have to tell you that you needed to press Q to hit someone with your first hit? Right? Right? Right. Now, that's going to end level design theory. The next part that we will be covering is using level design to relay game mechanics to the player. What do you know? We're done! Alright, anyway. There's another thing that we can cover now. Something that was mentioned in the video earlier. We can dip a little bit into that right now. And that's how to use player data to test how the level was designed. Now, anybody have any idea on how you're going to do that?
Yes,
Countless testing
Okay, who does the testing?
testing din without.
without interfering.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting the player explore the game world.
Good.
Then use that as feedback.
Okay. What feedback are you looking for?
Player behavior and movements, where they
Okay.
usually go first,
Mm-hmm.
and what do they first try to do, and mostly where they make a mistake.
Correct. Good. How do you check the difficulty level of the game? Of a certain level that you're working on.
Number of mistakes versus number of people who got it right.
Is this mistakes committed per person, mistakes committed in total, or players that fail to complete the stage?
Players that fail to complete the stage.
Okay. What do you do if a game is too easy?
Throw. Ayun lang.
Add more.
Add more.
You make it more challenging, that's right. How do you normally... Now, here's the interesting part. There are two ways that you can make a game more difficult. There are artificial ways and natural ways of doing it. The easiest one is normally to just add more stuff. Of course, that makes things more cluttered, right? Another thing you can do is add mechanics. That'll make the game more complex. Another thing you can do is use the map to make the game more difficult. Again, Mario was an excellent example. Spacing of the blocks, how far you have to go, whether you can get lost. Of course, there are pitfalls here. A lot of these are things you're gonna have to learn with experience. In the case of the game that you're making, which we will be discussing later, because I really need to know how you guys are doing for the design for that. It can be a combination of all of that, as well as the fact that both players are not privy to all of the information that is available. Okay. Now, and that concludes today's topic for game design. We will be continuing the next set of topics next Saturday. We are moving on to the production process, as per your request. Okay, so there are three main processes with which we can create a game. Does anyone know what they are?
For the whole production. Anyways, for the whole.
The three stages of production.
Planning, design.
Design,
That's
production,
the
testing.
Yes.
Wild guess. Extremely.
Here's the tip. It's the same stages of production used in creating films, movies, and animations.
Research.
That's part of the production process as a whole. That is not one of the three stages of production.
Reproduction.
Say that again?
Reproduction.
Correct. What's the next stage?
Production.
And
Post.
correct. Guys, kaya na yan. I have faith in you. You're 4 years. Come on. All right. Pre-production, pre-prod, prod, post-prod. What do you find in pre-prod? What is important to finish in pre-prod before you move to prod?
Documentation.
Correct. That's one. Two. There are lots. Don't worry. Don't need to name everything, but try to name as many as you can.
The whole design document.
Three. And it also falls under documentation. But yes, the design. What was that? Art Bible. More often than not, yes. You want to have all of your artwork ironed out before you move on. That's 4.
First workable build.
Well, that is debatable. Many would say that yes, you want that done. Especially if you're working for a company, in order to get greenlit for your project, you need to present them a working prototype, correct? 5. Anything else?
Resources,
What kind of resources? But that's the correct answer.
programs,
Okay. 6 and 7. What else?
The kids.
List of list of
Project plan.
yes.
8. Very important. Nice answer.
Pipeline.
Project plan, pipeline, very similar. 9.
Schedule.
10. Though technically the same as 8 and 9. You guys are missing a very important factor. Come on. Look at yourselves and tell me the answer.
people.
Good. It's very important to know what kind of manpower you're gonna need. You guys forget that. Okay, you have the programs, you have the plan, you have the paperwork, you have the design. Who's gonna make the game? Come on, people. Okay. Yes, you need people. You need a design. You need a plan. Everything needs to be ready before you move into production. What do you do in production? Code. Yes.
Actually, try to flesh out mechanics.
Okay.
And
So more often than not, you want that in the prototype, which is in pre-production.
Testing all
splat bodies.
Kind of, though you don't do that quite yet. I mean, there's no point in making sure the game runs if there's no game, right? So come on, you guys got this. Production's supposed to be the easiest part to figure out what you're doing.
Make assets.
That's one, making assets. There's one answer that can cover the entirety of everything here, guys. What are you making?
productions.
You're not making a prototype anymore, this is production.
Create beta test.
You're making a game. Beta tests come later. What are you making? A test? You're making a test. Okay. You're making a game.
Beta test.
Okay, so you're making the game. This is the, bread and butter of our industry. You're making the game. Okay, good. That's that's actual production. You're making the game. What is post?
Code free.
The post gets a little iffy depending on what kind of game you're working on. There's still a lot of processes. It's like it's where pre-production and post-production actually really complex on paper. Well, what can you guys think of that you might be doing in post-production?
Testing.
Not quite. That's already. This isn't about making the game. Though that is a very important thing to note, especially for me since marketing. But since I work in the marketing department, but that's not part of building the game. That's for someone else's story about not the developers. Yes. You have to make sure that the game is working properly, the game does not crash, and that the play experience for the player is good. Correct. Anything else? Not quite. The game's not out yet. Why would you be working on updates?
Day one update.
you know when Assassin's Creed came out with day one DLCs, were the players happy?
No.
Exactly. Do you want to do that? There you go. Okay. What else?
Gigs pa yung update.
What else? You don't want to do features in post-production. You want to do those in pre-production.
Optimization.
Build them. Optimization is correct. That's 2. You guys got this. Come on, you gave me 10 for pre-prod. Where's the other 8?
Ikaw naman.
Got a friend.
Guys, you have a game.
Double check if all features are...
Play the game.
You already said that.
Quality assurance.
Hmm?
QA.
You already said QA.
See if it follows the G.
Okay, you have a game, right? Okay.
No.
Is your menu done? Is your menu done? Is your UI done? Are you telling the player the information they need besides level design? Have you put
Ready.
everything together?
It's like each hobby. The evaluation. Compile.
Evaluating numbers.
Technically compile everything because it's programming. This is the part where you guys need to put the entire game together, make sure that all of the parts, the bits and pieces are working cohesively as a whole and it doesn't blow up in your face and break your phone. Phone, PC, console, platform of choice, table. You have to make sure that the game is working properly, the game is clean, the game is done. You're not missing any assets. There are no random cubes that aren't supposed to be there since you're working with Unity. Making sure that all of the aspects are connected, all of the different scenes transition properly. You go from stage to stage, all right. It's in a very large sense assembly followed by the biggest QA check that you can come up with. So that's the production process generally. Now, we'll be discussing marketing at a later date because right now we need to make sure that all of your designs are ironed out. Okay, now, before we move on to our final topic for the day, does anyone have any questions about the production process and how it's relevant to your lives? That's our funnily enough, that's our next topic.
Could be used for me. We enjoy it. Like, producing this.
Hmm?
Parang enjoy. May enjoy ba namin yung pag-produce namin ng
Now that's a big question because that's not something I can answer. Do you enjoy making games?
Yes.
Well, Sean apparently does, so that's good. It's good to know you enjoy making games, Sean. That means you might just have a future here in this industry. Ultimately, whether you enjoy making a game is up to you. That's not something that anyone else can give you. They can't tell you that you're having fun. That's not how that works.
You're gonna have fun.
That's not how that works. It's ultimately going to be whether you have fun or not, whether the experience is something that you find enjoyable. Now, some of you might, some of you might not, some of you might, some other aspect of the whole process, you know, fulfilling to you. That's something you'll discover as you go through this. Any other questions?
Oh, hi. The dynamic duo. Negro.
Lou, you guys part of the group?
Do you want to be? Do you want to be?
Podcast lang po, sir. Anyway, feel free to sit wherever. Don't really give a shit. However, I do need to know who the hell you people are. So,
Introduce
don't need to go up front. Just stay there. Take a seat.
Okay.
Settle down. I'm gonna need you guys to tell me who you are, what you did. Anyway, tell me who you are. Give me your name. Are both of you in Okay. That makes 11. So that's everyone, right? Also, these guys are not on the list, but they're here.
Yes.
Thank you for joining.
May ito absent.
So may technical 2 absences tayo. Okay. Anyway, you guys unfortunately missed a very big part of the lecture. And unfortunately, there are no slides. Because I did not, like even if I made slides, it would have been like 4 slides with titles and nothing else.
You missed the fancy.
So, I can't send you notes. That's a very big problem. The best thing I can give you is I can give you the links to the 3 videos that we used for level design. You can watch them. They're not academic, so don't worry about falling asleep. It shouldn't be too boring for you. I'm sure these guys didn't find it overly boring. Did you find it overly boring? Like that. Anyway, so I'm gonna need one of you to start. Introduce yourself to me. What games do you play? What do you do during your free time? Do you want to be Hokage?
I mean, Joey's always the Hokage.
But ka daw nag-game din.
Name the games you play, what you do in your free time. Then I'll ask follow-up questions depending on what you say. So choose wisely. You are? Okay, I'll ask you a question and then you answer. Does that work for you? Does that make it easier? Who are you?
I'm Michelangelo.
Michelangelo
Or Bonis.
Bonis. What do I call you?
Jobber!
What do I call you? Jobber. Okay, and also I'm not a sir. Call me a sir.
It's too late.
Okay, Jobber, are you sure you want to be called that?
Sure, wala na akong
I will call you what you ask me to call you. If you want me to call you like Shadow Slayer 5000, sige go.
Oh my God, sex lang pala.
Okay, so Jobber, nice to meet you. What games do you play? Okay, answer that later. What do you during your free time besides play games?
Errands.
What errands do you run?
Mga utos lang po ng magulang ko.
Like what? Bili ng... So,
Maglaba.
Pag may pinakuha galing sa sa pinapagawa.
Investors will want to know if a product will make money before they will give you money to make it. So you need to be able to ask that question without ever building the game. Because once the game has been built, that means you've already spent money on it. You've spent time on it. Something you might want to think about. In any case, you don't have to answer that now. We'll answer that question when we actually get to marketability. But I want you guys to think about that. Okay. Anyway, next question. So we're developing both on mobile. Is this 2D or 3D? And we need your final answer.
There is a 1 2D, 1 3D.
One 2D, one 3D.
2D is the 3D and the 3D is for the other.
Okay. Are all three artists going to be able to handle making all the assets? Which one is 2D, which one is 3D?
One is for DJ. The major one, the major one. And 2 artists for 2.
Dalawa sa 3D, dalawa sa 2D.
Dalawa sa 2.
Isa yung
Hindi.
Isa
Ano, nasa, ito,
Yung mga major lang. Parang,
wait lang.
Yung normal
Wait lang,
role.
Bakit?
Ano, hindi, nalaman nga nilang tatlo yung 2D, isa lang yung 3D. Ngayon, yun nga, sinabi ko na, nag-volunteer akong ako yung magiging isang 3D kasi sa ating tatlo, ako na naman yung walang tablet.
So how's that going for you?
Well, I
Is it
have yet to
nice?
learn.
It's very remember basic controls ng sa mga
Medyo.
texture. Like
Yung window.
yung bara-bara yung
Yung wave.
yung layouting.
Kaya-
Gamay mo pa.
I mean, pwede ko namang gamayin ulit.
So,
Hindi ba kayo nag-training ni EJ over the provision?
Hindi.
Define tree.
No?
Okay, so what are we looking at, guys?
Ay, di ba, if I remember correctly, sinabi ni EJ na okay na siya sa 3D, pero kailangan niya lang ng mga texture.
Ayan, no problem.
Right?
Ang problem is kung kaya ni EJ i-handle yung entire environment.
Hindi, actually.
haba ng process na.
EJ and Allen for all office and environment. Kaya ba? We can't answer that question kung hindi kumpleto yung yung GDD. We don't even know the
That's what we need to fix right now. Production questions is the number one thing that you will always need is you need to make sure that your GDD is ready on time. Without a design, no one else has anything to work on.
Ang current problem lang ng GDD namin is we don't actually know kung how much or how many puzzles per how many rooms ang gagawin namin. So ngayon kakaset lang namin na we'll have 5 rooms. One is for the tutorial one. The rest of the other 4 are for the actual
For the actual game. Is a room a way that you can define the level? So is it technically a 5-stage game? So it's a 5-stage game. Okay, now you have your limits, you have your scope, you now have an idea of how much work you're gonna need. Okay, so 5 rooms. You have the next coming week to finish the design document. Production proper will start next Saturday. You'll be working with Sion starting next week because he'll have his first lesson. I'll still be meeting with you guys, don't worry. So, I apologize if this is the hardest part of today's class because this is a hard part. You guys need to get through this if you're gonna get started. Anyway, so, aspects of the design. You have your core mechanic. You'll be working on levels. You have how many stages you're gonna need. Have you decided on... Now, the next thing that you guys are gonna need is details on how you're gonna win. This is the fun part of designing, where you have to think of the tiny things. How are the 2 players going to communicate? You have to think of that. And remember that each method of communication that you give them is going to present its own unique set of challenges. And that's also going to fit in to how difficult the game is going to be. Unfortunately, I can't think of any immediate examples right now, but let's look at this in the analogy of a MOBA. In a time-sensitive game where you are currently under attack, if let's say you are being ganked 4v1 at bot lane, you're a support, you stand no chance, right? Tell me, without voice comms, how easily can you tell the rest of your team that you're being attacked? Ping system. Let's remove the ping system, what happens to you?
helpless.
Correct. However, remove the ping system, keep type chat, but what happens if you have voice calls? Very different story, right? That's the thing. Methods of communication will present a unique set of challenges that the players must overcome. Your challenge will be figuring out which method of communication will work best for your game in such a way that it will work with the engine, because both players are on mobile. That means only one player can type because the other guy's phone is over here. You need to decide if it's going to be one-way communication or two-way. That's also another form of difficulty that you can add to the game. If only the player on mobile, on non-VR, can send messages to the player with VR, if the guy on VR notices something the other player does not, there's no way for him to tell the other player. So you'll have to find an alternate method of communication that does not require him to take off his phone, type a message, press send, then put his phone back on his face.
Alright.
So, how much harder did this game just become?
Yes.
This was not an or question. I'm not saying that this is exactly how you want. I'm mainly suggesting this so that you guys can finish this on time. Because you have a really tight schedule, and realistically you want this game to be done the week before it's due so you can make sure that it's working properly. That's post-prod. This is pre-prod, and officially this is your first day of pre-prod. So production proper will start next week. That means you have the 14th, the 21st, the 28th. By the time you hit week 5, which is the 4th of February, the game needs to be almost done with almost everything put together. And that next week up until the last Saturday is you guys making sure that everything is working properly. So, you've decided on, you've looked at you now have to look at the means of communication between the players, what they need to do to win, the core mechanic. Next, what type of obstacles you're going to put in their way. What do they need to overcome with their very limited resources? Concept art, I suppose, will be discussed with Ralph later. Pretty sure. Should be on my little breakdown paper here. Yeah, you guys have asset optimization. Alright, just in case though, you need to make sure that you have a uniform feel for the game. Should also still be detailed in the game design, but it will be expounded on in your art bible for documentation. Now, please understand that this is also quite important because this is a part of the experience. Dan, since you'll be doing level design, you also need to take note of this, because not only will you be in charge of making mechanics for the game for its difficulty, you have to tell the story through the level design. It's not just the mechanics that you'll be handling. That means you'll be deciding where assets go, whether there's going to be cracks in the floor here, if there's a painting here or there. That's a big part of the ambience. How the game will feel is going to be a joined effort between all of you. It's going to be the ambience provided by the sound. It's going to be the feel of the artwork. As I'm sure you've noticed, Umineko puts very high emphasis on music, sound effects, plus artwork, along with narration. It's going to have a lot to do with, how tense the environment feels based off of the mechanics, whether the stuff that you're doing is time sensitive, whether you have a limited number of choices. Like if you fail to pick a lock 3 times, it explodes and you die. This is an example, you don't need to put it there, just putting that out there.
Okay, knock knock. People,
Yes.
you're gonna have a full house because I'm letting go of my slot. So you have a room. Tonight, since hindi ako nakapag-book ng senior high school laboratory, kasama ninyo yung class ko. So the 3rd years.
Tonight?
Yeah, kasi may class pa kayo until 9:30 for concept art. So they're going to attend with you guys. Tas ako yung nasa labas. So, yung lalabas lang team per team, ikaw magko-consult sa akin sa labas. Okay? So, you still have a room. Okay? But next, tulungan mo ako. Hanap tayo ng lab. Naiiyak na ako. Pwede lang mga anak ng lab eh. Bakit? Just mag-usap kayo sa skills. Baka naman pwedeng umangat si Ralph. Diba?
Yeah.
You don't have to, di ba, I told you guys naman, pwede naman yung modular.
Yeah.
I think we need to end by 6.
Okay.
So if
We can reduce the amount of time because I actually had 3.5 hours is pretty long.
I was expecting Zion here.
Can we is it possible for us to cut it into like hour-and-a-half long meetings? Or is that too short now?
Di ba nagsabi na ako sa inyo, you don't have to follow the time.
Yeah. I'll bring it up with the guys tonight.
Ayun na.
If not tonight, then
Ikaw na, bahala ka na dun, Christoph. Kasi baka sapakin ko na kayong lahat, ha?
Yes, no.
Ilang beses ko na sinabi sa inyo, you don't have to follow the time. Because you don't actually have time. You can make your own.
Yep.
Ang importante nun is the flow.
Okay.
As long as there's a flow, hindi siya awkward, I don't care.
Alright.
Diba? Just don't get my time.
Sure thing. Okay. Where were we? Okay. So, I think with that you should be able to work on finishing up most of the design. UI, I imagine Raf will cover. If not, tell me. We can cover that first thing next week. Next thing, I heard you guys have a game flow already, screen flow.
Yeah.
That's good. Though you'll want to set that aside, make sure the game mechanics are down pat. Okay. Now for figuring out what to do over the course of the next week, how to assign tasks. You have the most work to do this week. You need to finish the game design. Make sure that the game design is done. Make sure that you now have an idea of what mechanics you're going to need to work on, and therefore what assets you're going to need, and what the programmers are going to need to start figuring out. It's medyo alang-alang sa oras, whenever you can come up with something that the programmers are going to need to start working on, have them start practicing with it in Unity over the course of this week. That way, by the time you guys start proper production, they have a better idea of what they're going to need to do. Try to put all of the designs on paper, especially for level design, so that they can implement it directly without you needing to, put it in yourself. That'll save you time since I think you're also acting producer. I get this sinking feeling that you'll be acting producer. Okay, now our actual last topic for today is how to make a schedule and stick to it. Making the schedule, figuring out how much time you have. That's what we did earlier when we broke down your weeks, right? 6 weeks. Next thing you do, once you figure out how much time you have, you need to figure out the minimum time needed to do certain things. Post-production and making sure that your project is done, up, running, and clean 1 week. Brings it down to 5 weeks, that's the last week. Next is pre-production, making sure that your game is ready to start building. Finishing the design document, getting the art bible ready, finalizing all of the styles that your game is going to be working under. That's another 1 week. So that's today, then Sunday through Friday of the following week. Since technically you lost all of the first, everything before today. So you lost 2 weeks, that brings us down to 3. So you have 3 weeks for proper production. Now you need to figure out what is realistically achievable with that amount of time. What you can complete, then decide what you keep and what you let go. Think about it this way, at least all of the ideas that you've come up with for the mini games up till now, you can use in future projects. Hell, you can make them their own independent game, and you can make, instead of making 1 game with 5 games inside, you can make 6 separate games. For the future, of course. Assigning tasks. You need to know who's doing what. You know who your artists are, you know who your programmers are, you know who your sign designer is, you know who your designer is. Knowing that, you can assign the tasks that needed to be done first, which means concept art needs to be done first, the art bible needs to be compiled, design needs to be done. If there's a story, writing needs to be completed, at least a draft. Programmers need to start figuring out how to implement mechanics, how to create the game world, and how it's going to start looking like with placeholders. So in Unity, cubes, spheres, cylinders, the basic shapes that the world has to offer. Okay, next. Once that's done, and you know what you need to do for this week, and once you have everything ready, once the game design document is finished, figure out what tasks need to be finished in order for you to put the rest of the game together. This is where things get a little bit tougher, and you need to gauge your pacing with what you believe the rest of your team can do. This is something you have to get a feel for. How long have you guys been working together?
4
4 years.
years.
Have you guys been working as groups frequently? No.
No.
So this is going to be the challenge that you guys will be facing over the course of the next 5 weeks. Figuring out how each of you work. Are most of your projects individual?
Random group.
Random group. So who among you have worked with each other at any point in time before? Or worked with someone else in this room?
Me.
Work someone else do that.
Who have you worked with someone else in this room at any point in time before today?
Yes.
So you guys have worked together before. But
WTP.
none of you have worked together as a group. Okay, so this is going to be an excellent challenge for you, and I do hope that you guys can learn from this. Anyway, so you're gonna have to gauge what can be done. Now, you may or may not need to cut levels, depending on what you guys can finish. That happens. Yeah. Content makes it in, content doesn't make it in. If you're aware of how, like, for those of you familiar with the Fate Stay Night visual novel, that was originally supposed to have 7 rounds instead of 3. They had to cut out 4 because they didn't have time, or, if I recall, the ability to develop it. Now, every week that we'll be meeting, I'll be checking on you guys for updates. So I would like to see a finished GDD. If you do need help with what the finished GDD is supposed to look like, feel free to contact me. Like he has me added on Facebook. Add me through him, send me a PM, then we can figure out what to do. Because you guys will need, the GDD needs to be as detailed as humanly possible, so that as few questions are asked as possible. Sticking to it, this is challenging. Sticking to the plan will be very hard, especially considering we're people. And we are inconsistent by nature because we're human. One of the tricks that I can suggest to you is keep constant communication. When a task is assigned to you, you confirm that you've received it. When you take action on the task, you update the relevant people, tell them that a certain action has been taken, what the progress is, if anything is changed. Now, if you guys have a Facebook group which you can do this, it's great. It doesn't have to be on Facebook, as long as people know what everyone else is up to. The moment someone drops off the radar, things get dicey. And that more, with regards to making sure that things keep up, producer needs to check on them periodically. Like ask how they're doing, what they're up to, if there's any updates. Because not everyone remembers. Vice versa. If you remember and producer doesn't remember, just tell producer that you have made progress. That way he knows anyway. It's important that everyone knows what's going on. Any questions? I apologize if it seemed like I was kind of rough on you. It's just that you guys have a really, really small window, and 6 games is a lot. to finish. In that case, if you guys don't have any more questions, I wish you the best of luck. And we're technically done for the day. What time is it?
5:30.
So you guys got 20 minutes to do fuck all.
Paano natin
Also be aware that mobile has limits for how much stuff you can put on it. So be careful with 3D.
Wait sir. Regarding, di ba po meron po kayong suggestions regarding sa mobile, regarding the downscaling?
Normally that would be switch to 2D.
Exactly.
No, I mean because you said the VR is going to be 3D because that's also going to be on mobile. I'm not sure how much. I'm not familiar with the hardware specs kasi of the Samsung VR. So I actually can't say what it can and cannot handle. I just suggest that, you know, the less work you're putting into the machine, the better. Though ultimately, I trust you guys should be able to consult Sir Paul for that. Because, you know, he know more about that than I would. It's just something that I can warn you guys from experience that be careful about putting too much heat onto a mobile machine. After all, Samsung has been known to explode recently. Alright, if you guys have any questions, I'll be in this over here. You can also ask non-related since technically we're done for the day.
So, hindi nakalagay yung doping doon. In real life.
I remember
Kung doping yung ginawa. Nandun yung latest. Doon naman natin yun eh.
This one.
Nasa sa... Kasi nasa doping.
Kasi hindi ako nag-update.
I-share mo na lang sa akin. Yan yung
Updated.
I have an idea for major downscale game, pero it's super different from our Not super different, pero mawawala na yung lahat ng pinag-isipan natin. Pero it will downplay everything.
Sa mobile.
Gets ko lang ba ito sa stomach? So, bagong ano yun?
It's basically a new concept.
Hirap.
Wanna hear it? You can hear me out?
So bakit ka
Pwede yan sabihin paano sa game jam siguro.
Ay, i-post mo yung
Wala naman sa
documentary.
game jam.
Hindi yung concept mo.
Ah.
Gagamitin natin.
Basically, i-exploit lang natin yung game nila na super polished na. Yung ano, yung panels, nakita yung lit up ano sa mobile. Kasi VR yung actual na mag-operate. That's the entire game. That's,
So, ano gagawin mo ba?
he has a thing. Nasa kanya yung map, yung answers. Tapos, that's,
Signal na.
oo, yung ano na yun, yung panel na yun, has different answers that will open different doors. Nasa kay mobile din yung map kung nasan yung kailangan niya to defuse the bomb. So, in order to open different doors and fetch different items, kailangan niyang i-input. Halimbawa, this is solution A. It opens door 1. So, yun yung una niyang ipapagawa kay VR. Pag nagawa niya yun, pag na-unlock na, solve na yun, door 1 will unlock, tapos makukuha niya yung item. And it happens until they finish the game.
Wow.
You're disturbingly creepy na.
It's fine. Iiwan ko na nga lang to dito. Ay.
Pakita mo yung ano yan.
Patingin ng lima ako.
So Beauty VR is just a bunch of tiles that light up when he steps on it. So Beauty Mobile, there are several shapes that show a grid with several lit up panels. He has no idea with what open switch, pero I don't know, we can tell him what open switch. Depende na yun sa design kung gusto nating pag-isipan pa nila or i-spoon feed na natin. Pero basically, yun, i-instruct niya si VR on which panels to step on. Once na madetect nung panel on VR side na tama yung according to what mobile has in his blueprints, may door na magbubukas.
Tapos kuha na lang sa item.
Parang ginamit yung tutorial yung pinaka-game na gamit. Para mo lang.
It doesn't need a tutorial, it's something.
Yung tutorial na ginagawa ko is yan mismo.
Ah, okay. So may working na pala
May working
yan.
na.
Ah, okay.
Ang kailangan ko na lang talaga yung mini-games. Once na malagay ko sa VR, connection na kasi yung problemahin ko na lang.
May video ako dahil kay
Pero yan,
Game
yan na
na.
mismo yun, magbubukas sa lahat ng door. Pati yung mga patterns.
We only have to think of different patterns na lang eh. Para dyan.
Then, para lang.
Pero syempre yung
Kasi yung door, yung mga rooms, yung mga specific items, hindi kailangan ng room.
Oo. Kasi kung magbubukas lang naman yung room for the sole purpose of getting the item inside, edi okay na yun. Wala silang downtime anywhere. Kasi the moment na makuha ni Pierre yung item, game na ulit sila. I-reset na ulit nila yung panel. And they continue to do that until they manage to ulit the bar.
Mas madali kung yung lahat na yan. At least, yung more pwede ko na talaga i-ano. Pwede ko na agad
kill them all and touch the place. I have like
Pero that's just a suggestion. Pero it completely eradicates everything we've worked.
It's fine. Meron ako
We've worked on.
post
siguro mas
So parang yan na lang yung puzzle.
Oo, yan na lang yung main. Yan yung core gameplay natin.
Once magawa yung, kasi magawa na yung pinaka-5 rooms, yung mga existing, yun na yung parang advanced level. Pag 6 room, pag 7, pag 8, pag gano'n.
Puro ganun na lang. Hindi natin siya ma-update. Yun yung point.
Ano nangyari?
Kasi kung mag-update naman tayo, if ever, di ba market nga natin yung game natin, then that's the time we can incorporate the other stuff. Pero for now, realistically, that's the only thing we can accomplish.
Ano ko mag-kick na pang
Pero may ping system pa
Within
rin.
1 week na,
Tapos na yan.
walang design na, yung ano lang, parang yung
I-keep
default.
na natin yung blueprint idea ni Dan na yung
Bali, kung
makuha
ganun, gusto niya
ng
manap-
pieces of the map.
Yung first to,
Pero ano?
Ano yung Facebook ni Sir
Wait.
specific pattern. Ay, yung pattern na
Mga
na,
patterns. Make something
Exile
up
na
na.
lang.
Oo.
Pero kung yan na lang yung puzzle, ano yung mga gagawin ni AC?
HIN.
Sabi niya gagawa daw siya ng apat.
Yun, sana no.
Magawa na nga siya.
Oh, yun nga.
Hi, baby, hindi ka...
Sadly.
Kala ko yun na yun eh.
Ano yan? Is he making up a
Ano,
base?
generic mail. Sabi ko, hindi ko yan.
Go!
If you've read the Gama Sutra level design article, the maze is the laziest form of level.
Si AC!
Please.
Okay yung kay Dan. Pero
Because you guys have so much potential with the fact that there's limited information. You really might want to capitalize on that.
I don't
Kasi it's
know.
already your core mechanic.
Okay to. Yung na ito na yun. But it sounds na puro ganun na lang ba?
Yun nga eh.
But we can expand on that.
Example, may time limit yung time.
Na lalaglag siya.
or magiging white
Or may time limit yung kwarto. For example, what you can do is, since linear yung progression nyo, you can add a new mechanic, mechanic every time you get into the room. Let's say, for example, in the first room, all you have to do is traverse through the room. Make it through the room, you're done. Second room, you get there, but you have limited number of moves. Third room, you have a limited number of moves and the time limit. Fourth room, you see where this is going.
Mario.
It's not just Mario.
Kaso our game isn't linear.
Oh, hindi siya linear eh. It's not
You can access each of the rooms at
ang suggestion is random generate ba? Yung items, hindi mo.
Yung rewards, yung blueprints na makuha mo, those are randomly generated.
Okay.
So basically, sinashuffle lang namin sila. Oo.
So it's like a small set of items that you're working with.
Yes, tapos doon naka-depend yung success rate mo by defusing the bomb. Kasi each part ng blueprint na yun ay critical sa ano mo, kasi each part ng information nandoon sa bawat part na yun.
Okay, do you need all 5 blueprints to beat the game?
Hindi
Okay.
naman, if we can guess right,
Oh, so merong guessing factor.
Yung item na kukunin na,
Oh,
jigsaw
yun nga
puzzle.
eh. That's
Pag na-complete mo yung jigsaw puzzle, andun yung 100% chances na
Na you can
Kasi-
beat the game.
This is
So it's possible for you to find your way as long as you've already completed enough parts of the puzzle to have an idea of what you're doing.
actually
So it's possible for you to beat the game without ever having to do a single puzzle.
Yes.
What happens if you've already memorized how the bomb works?
No, sir. The solution is, is randomized. So, for example, defusing the bomb is a code. There's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
If you random that, then there's a 4 items. Every jigsaw puzzle has that kind of number, but the sequence
is different.
is different.
Although mahirap 'yun dahil numbers ang may
Okay, if you're planning to randomly generate bombs and solutions, how many solutions are you going to generate?
Minimum yung
So,
4.
sobrang ano lang. Oh.
4.
Oo, 4 lang.
So the moment the player
The 5
knows all
rooms will
4.
become 4 rooms.
So the moment the player knows all 4, what happens?
Then,
It proceeds na doon sa doon sa room kung nasan na yung bomba.
No, I mean if the player already knows about how to defuse each of the 4 types of bomb. Replayability is a factor in the game.
sir, 4 by 4 plus many It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 5.
Yeah, but
So,
unless the problem is if you're dealing with randomly generated solutions, everything.
there's no light.
The interesting thing about randomly generated solutions is if it's the way to end the game, are you generating a new number each time a player starts a playthrough?
Yes, sir. Yun yung mangyayari.
So the jigsaw puzzle will generate a new number as well. Okay. Sounds uniquely challenging.
And both sides actually, for both mobile and KVR originally, yung kailangan doon. So, merong details doon na kailangan ni VR, then merong yung details na kailangan ni mobile sa blueprint na yun. So, they're like equally challenged sa final puzzle na yun. So, for VR, it's the wires, which color yung safe to cut.
Do you guys have an idea of what the final bomb, the final
Di ba may kami, there's kanong yung bomb, yung
sinulat
itsura
sa
ng
board
bomba ng,
yun eh.
yung jigsaw puzzle na nandun yung wire color, nandun yung number.
Do you have it? Or drawing mo lang?
Drawing ko lang yun eh. But I remember.
So ano,